Shalawam, call law, or praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. This is Abib God, and I want to touch on this topic dealing with Septimius Severus, all right? The first black Roman emperor, okay? He is very significant in history. Biblically, he fits in prophecy, not directly, but indirectly. He also fit in, I'm also going to go into his life, you know what I'm saying, or go into certain aspects of his rulership in a condensed form. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but he was very significant in prophecy, indirectly, as well as he's, you know, significant in history if you know history. But also too, before I continue on, I just want to say this. As you will learn in this lesson, this man was not, because there's a particular Israelite group out here that pushes that this guy, and not just that Israelite group, but you know, you got a lot of guys regurgitating information and not actually looking up the sources for themselves. And they're sitting up here saying that this man was a Roman gladiator, you know, one of the slaves from Judea. And that's far from the truth, okay? And I'm going to prove that in this lesson, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to just say this, brothers need to step up on their scholarship. I'm not saying I'm on some super deep level. I'm just saying brothers need to research, okay? The scriptures say, study to show thyself approved, rightly dividing the word of truth. Well, that also goes into knowing history and being and having good scholarship, not pseudo scholarship, not Googling everything, all right? And finding a particular source on Google that may not be valid, or just going off of someone's what someone else said. Man, you have to use your own. You have to use actual scholarship and actually research. Okay. Now, with that said, let me go to Revelation chapter 13 and verse 3. Verse 1, the context is talking about the 7 heads, 10 horns, which you know as NATO and EU, and that's dealing with the Roman Empire today, right? The revised Roman Empire. I forget when NATO was established, I believe 1970s or something like that. But dealing with one of the heads. Let me read this. Revelation 13 verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Right. Now, how does this relate to Septimius Severus? Well, you break down the name Septimius Severus, it means sever the seven, all right? Severus the seven, you know, if you look it up, okay? And he said, what did he wound? He wounded the Roman Empire, okay? He wounded the Edomite rulership of the Roman Empire, which which Rome being one of the 7 heads. Okay, and in his name being sever the seven, all right, Severus 7, or however you put it, if you go into the actual translation, all right, then that's what it's talking about. Okay, he was the main catalyst to taking over the Roman Empire and then starting his own line called the Severus dynasty. Okay, and I'm gonna get another scripture dealing with that Revelation the 20th chapter, because what that signified basically was that in that deadly wound being healed through the national NATO and EU in America, okay? Because that is the revised Roman Empire now, but that deadly wound was healed, okay? Now let me go into Revelation the 20th chapter real quick. Okay, because that also ended that also was the beginning of this prophecy in Revelation the 20th chapter, as well as the Edomites being under subjection unto Jake. Okay, because after that it was him in power also, but also too you deal with the Roman Empire under black rulership, as well as the Middle Ages that was ruled by black people, as well as the Moors that were ruled by black people. Okay, but let me go ahead and get into this verse. Revelation chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his in his hand. All right, the key of the bottom. Okay, and this is an angel, you know, because all angels work through things in this realm through the spiritual realm. Okay, and it had the chains of the. It had the key of the bottomless pit. Okay. And the chain in his hand, okay, because that was representing the fact that representing slavery, okay, or representing being in bondage, all right. And when you deal with the bottomless pit, that's talking about Europe. Europe is the least of all the continents in resources. Historically, you don't have to go to the Bible. You can it's well known that Europe is a pit, is a pretty much a black hole when it comes to actual crops, actual minerals and natural resources. That's why when you go into the Greek and Roman history, they always would set their provinces in other places to get the minerals and resources from other regions and other places. Okay. Also, too, there's been a lot of deaths and wars in Europe since time began, more so than any other region. That's why it's called the bottomless pit. Verse 2. Okay, but let me continue on. Verse 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Now that same devil and Satan is speaking of the Edomites, the so-called white people. Okay, this started when, excuse me, this started when Septimius Severus took over and became emperor of Rome. All right, because after Didius Julianus, who was the last Edomite Roman emperor, he ended up they pretty much was never came back into any prominence of power until the 1300s. Okay, until the Renaissance began, which was the rebirth of what? The Edomites coming back, but as well as the Roman Empire coming back in its power, in a sense, because the Edomites were representative of the Roman Empire. Okay, but as I read on, verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loose a little season. Okay, so yeah, dealing with Septimius Severus, he was significant in putting. He was pretty much the catalyst of that 1,000 years beginning for the Edomites going into bondage and captivity during their time of the Dark Ages. Okay, and a little bit before the Dark Ages. All right, but with that, let me go ahead and get something else real quick. And I'm gonna read some text, or I'm gonna read some information dealing with the man himself. All right. Now this is off of the website. Let's see. What is this website? Click on it. This is off of African Source. It's like africansource.com. Okay. And it said, it's like AfricanResource.com, Slovakia. The Africans who conquered Rome, Septimius Severus, the African emperor of Rome. All right. Skip down. Look at this. Look at this right here. Look at the image of this man. Because now I'm gonna bring out a scripture real quick in the Apocrypha. All right. You see this image? See this image right here? Well, this same image is pretty much to show you that this man was black. Okay, he was a Negro. Now they say African in certain texts, in particular in this text right here, but this man was a Hebrew Israelite. Okay, he was probably a Judite, most likely. All right. Now let me go ahead and get something real quick out of the Apocrypha. Now I'm gonna get something out of the book of the Maccabees real quick. All right, this is the book. This All right. So Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48. First Maccabees chapter 3 verse 48. And laid open the book, the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likenesses of their images. Right, so this is the time, during the time of the Greeks, right? This is what this white man, the Edomites have been doing this whole time. Whitewashing these images of these icons, and as well as images of our people in general, and putting their images up. And they've been doing it since their first prominent empire, which was the Greek Empire. Okay, because during the time of the Maccabees, this was dealing with the Seleucids and the Ptolemies, who were the Greeks, and they were late, and like it says, and laid open the book of the law, which is scriptures. All right, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right. And they painted the likenesses of their images, all right, and pretty much performing iconoclasm on our images of our people, and saying that they were the people of the Dark Ages, they were the people of certain antiquities and whatnot. Okay, which is far from the truth. Which is one of the reasons why this man has to go in slavery, because it was a falsification of documents. All right, but I want to turn to a book real quick. And I brought this out in a previous lesson, but I'm going to do it in particular for this man right here. Imperial Rome, Great Ages of Man, Salah. All right. This is a very good book dealing with the Roman Empire. You want to learn from all the different rulerships of the Roman Empire. This is the book to read if you call yourself being a scholar or want to know about the Roman history. Okay. Now I turn to page 141. But Didius Julianus, which was the winner's full name, had brought himself a dubious claim. Armies based in several other provinces had already proclaimed their own commanders as emperor, and one of them, Septimius Severus, African by birth and commander of the Danube, now marched on Rome and disposed the new emperor by auction. All right. And he pretty much became emperor after that. All right. And it also gives you a reference, African, but we know that he was a Hebrew Israelite. He was a Negro. Okay. You know, they just put that in there just to know, okay, he was a black man. Okay. Now, with that, let me go ahead and get something real quick. Now, brothers and sisters, I'm not big on Wikipedia. I'm not a Wikipedia guy, but just to condense the information, because that I will find off of other much more reliable sources, I'm gonna use these for time's sake. Use this as for time's sake. Now you see the Severan dynasty, Carcalla, and then you deal with Alexander Severus. Okay. Now I'm gonna read a brief synopsis on his life for a second. Septimius Severus, Lucius Septimius Severus Augustus, 11 April 145 through February 211, okay, AD. Also known as Severus, was a Roman emperor from 193 to 211 AD. Severus was born in Leptis Magna in Rome province of Africa as a young man. He advanced through the cursus honorum, the customary succession of offices under the reigns of Marcus Aurelius and Commodus. Severus seized power after the death of Emperor Britannicus in 193 during the year of 5 emperors, okay? After disposing and killing the incumbent Emperor Didius Julianus, Severus fought his rival claimants, the generals Persinius Niger and Claudius Albinus. All right, and Persinius Niger was one of his main rivals. All right, so was Claudius Albinus. All right, and those were two of the emperors, and you can tell by the names. Persinius Niger was an Israelite, Albinus as well. Okay, these were those last names pretty much gave away you know, what kind of individuals they were. Niger was defeated at 194 at Battle of Isis in Cilicia. All right. All right, and I want to, Salak, I want to go ahead and skip down, and I want to bring out this information right here. You know what I'm saying? Just proving that certain individuals, man, they keep regurgitating information and not doing they're not doing their own research, and they're just regurgitating information like he was a black Roman, one of the slaves from Judea that were Roman gladiators, and which is far from the truth, man. All right. Now, let me read this. Born on 11 April 145 at Leptis Magna, present-day Libya, as the son of Publius Septimius Geta and Fulvia Pia, Septimius Severus came from a wealthy and distinguished family of equestrian rank. Now let's look at equestrian. I'm not going to give away the definition. I'm going to let it speak for itself. Equestes, all right? Equestes, or eques in Latin, sometimes called knights in modern times because of the involvement of horses, constituted the lower of the two aristocratic classes of ancient Rome, ranking below the patricians, a hereditary caste that monopolized political power during the regal era, 753 to 509 BC. During the early republic, a member of the equestrian order was known as an equestus. All right, see right there, this is giving you information that he came from a wealthy, stable, one of the lower ranking aristocratic families, man. There were three different or I believe 3 or 4 different rankings, and he was part of one of the of society back in Rome, and he was a part of the aristocratic type of community in Rome, which is a very wealthy based family. Okay. And also, too, it gives you another reference of him in Libyan, Punic, and whatnot. And also, there's also references of him being Carthaginian, which means that he was an Israelite, because the majority of those Carthaginians were Israelites. All right, but that's the point, though. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to give a brief synopsis on history of his life, also proving that he was not a black Roman gladiator like certain guys say. All right, he was a man that was used in prophecy by the Most High to bring the downfall of the white man back then, for that 1,000-year period spoken of in Revelation, the 20th chapter. He was a catalyst to the beginning of that during the time of Revelation, that's spoken of in Revelation, the 13th chapter, 3rd verse. All right. Okay, this is just information on him. Now, with that said, I hope brothers and sisters were edified, man. Shalawam, much love to the priests, prophets, and elders throughout the 4 corners. Much love to the brothers and sisters in this truth. Shalawam.